everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight as we're actually going to talk about something called domestic violence. If you were to look around the room that you are in on a daily basis, or even in the women's restroom, you're washing your hands and you notice there's 5 other women washing their hands. Would you actually believe that 1 in 3 women are actually victims of this thing called domestic abuse? There's actually absolutely nothing pretty about it, but it is a serious issue that is going on within the world today, within different brackets, and no matter what religion you are, what nationality, race, it happens. So let's go ahead and dive into some of the causes of this. Domestic violence, as we all know, is a series of events or behaviors that are put upon, either it could be verbal abuse, physical abuse, but it's put on by the abuser towards the actual victim. Once the patterns are pretty much set into place, you're looking at one or both partners involved, and it's kind of a spiraling cycle of events per se. Once it starts, some women and or men find it hard to get out of because usually the abuser likes to use this thing called threat and control, which in turn even can cause it to become even harder for the victim to leave. Not only can it affect, the relationship between a marriage, husband and wife, it can be within a dating relationship or within 2 family members. It doesn't have to be just between a marriage. Some of the patterns to look out for, there are the 2 elements that I just spoke of, threat and control. That's a huge biggie one in this. Other than it being verbal or physical, the one thing, then it's a serious issue. The abuser can place the victim in isolation. What does this mean? This means that the victim is placed maybe away from friends, cannot have contact, no cell phone, not even able to go to her job, maybe for fear that the abuser may think if she goes to a job with the black eye, what is that going to do? It's going to spark talk amongst an office, and someone's going to interfere and possibly try to intervene between what the abuser is still trying to do, controlling the victim. Some of the causes are usually due to the abuser or the victim may have both have low self-esteem. If the abuser were to, say, grew up in a family household where he witnessed his father beating his mother, and this is sad to say, but more than likely, studies have shown that as, he gets older, he could actually think that, okay, well, I saw dad hit mom, so I guess that's what we do. And then there are other things that can come into play as well. Let's see, that cycle, the domestic violence cycle. The victim usually becomes afraid to leave. And once they're placed in isolation, they really become afraid to leave. Because what does that mean? If they try to evade wherever that abuser is wanting them to stay isolated, it's going to provoke even more madness within the abuser. So there's fear there. And that's when it's hard to break the cycle. Other than the actual 2 people that are being involved in the domestic violence, the children, if any, that are in the household also suffer greatly from this. They could, not only witness the violence, have PTSDs, they grow up, have fear of seeing their mother being beaten. So, there could be an instance where an actual child may pick up the phone and call 911 on his mother and get the police there right away. It's just really sad what some of these kids go through that are unfortunately involved in some of these households. Not only can depression and anxiety come into play along with the PTSD, but the children are just put at a higher risk for all kinds of mental issues and relationship problems down the road, which can be turned around with the right therapy or help. Let's see. I would like to also pinpoint, according to the Doing Domestic Violence Dilemmas of Care and Blame, the reality is, of course, that the only person to blame for domestic violence is the individual perpetrating it. Yes, we all agree with that. I would think so. And according to police intervention and the repeat of domestic assault, the victim usually possesses, as we talked about, low self-esteem. As well, the abuser could possess that as well, which will prolong the capability to break this cycle of this domestic abuse. The longer it continues, like I said earlier, everything's just kind of a repeat here, but the victim will become even more afraid to leave as it prolongs. It could be years, it could be months, 7 years. But there are ways to get out of this. I think as a society, we just all need to stay fully open, keep our eyes open, watch out, look out, listen for anything that you may think is dangerous for the victim, or if you know someone that's getting hurt at home. Reach out to them. Let them know you care. Let them know that there are outlets to get out of this. And there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you. Bye-bye.